when you're in free fall, when you're in trauma, when you're anxiety, when you're in depression, like if you don't have some disciplines to hold you, and you must practice them in the good times, because when the bad times come, it's the only thing that will hold you is that rinse and repeat. So I'm all about hydration and alkalizing and detoxing and moving and praying. And got it. Mm-hmm.
You got kombucha? Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I have just water with me. Here it's in the middle of the night here. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it's the middle of the day. Middle of the day here.
Yeah, I have a ton of notes. I made the mistake to do research. I have a ton of notes. Oops. It's crazy.
Oh. Well, I hope I've got enough battery. Will I be good if I have to come out of my headphones to plug my power in? I'll be okay still with the Zoom on speaker?
I think so. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, when I did the research, I was looking at the CrossFit Games from 2012 or something. I don't really know which year it was. Yeah. So I watched it from the beginning because I've seen all the latest stuff, and so I wanted to see some old stuff to remember. And I saw you there, and I was like, I remember that girl. I wonder what she's up to now these days. And then I started following you. I started following you on Instagram for some weeks, and I was like, what is going on with this woman? Like, she changed the gym setup to a natural working out space, which is like totally bizarre because it looks so like a different planet, because there's no other humans in there except you and your dogs, and showing your beautiful body, and it's like just giving this good feeling and impression of a free, authentic spirit. And then
thank you.
And then I did more research and watched some other podcasts with you, and then I'm just, what the fuck? So my starting question. So my starting question is, how stoked are you to be still around, to be still here?
Like to be alive and on the planet? Yeah. Honestly, it's the best is yet to come, and I've said that forever. And I feel like I just live with all the darkness and all of the light, the lightest light, the darkest darkness, and my job is to live that and to bring the messages of that way of surviving and thriving to others. Like, it's not been easy, and look, I still have my ups and downs without a doubt. I'm just going through a really rough patch at the moment. It just seems to have been that way, but I have tools, and the tools are the things that I want to share and with others and inspire them, because I know what it's like to struggle, and I know how many people struggle, and I know I don't nearly have it the worst.
Yeah.
So my puppies are glad. My wolves are glad that I'm here too. I've actually where is he? Oh, yeah, I've got one.
Just relaxing.
Yeah, it's his best.
Can you explain a little bit? For my viewership is mostly like German, so that I don't think there's a lot of people like really knowing you. Can you explain a little bit what happened to you in the last 2 to 3 years? Because that really blew me away.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you've made lots and lots of notes, and the more you dig, the more you find. And I still feel like I'm still excavating my own life and trying to understand what happened. And the last few years have certainly been, the very high highs and the very, very low lows. So, a few years back, I sold up my gym because I was quite exhausted. Actually, I think it was back in 2017. I found myself rushed to emergency with extreme pain, and no amount of morphine could resolve the pain. And I think I was there for quite a few hours and overnight, and they said I probably had ovarian cancer. And they packed me off, and I was back there again in emergency a week later. And then a week later I was cut open. So the length of my torso, basically from my diaphragm to my pelvis, as low as you can go. And they removed 4 kilos of tumors, which wasn't, they were benign, but 4 kilos is a fair slice. And being cut open, the length of your torso is no small feat. They told me I would certainly never CrossFit again, probably not exercise in the manner that I was used to again. And, this is, at that stage, I was only a 2-time world champion. But 7 months later, and I accepted that. Like, I was just happy to be alive. I was like, that's fine. If that's what it has to be, that's what it has to be. I let it go. I'm just grateful for so many things that you're not normally so grateful for when everything's all peachy. But 7 months later, slowly but surely, miracles happened, and I didn't just qualify for the CrossFit Games. Like 7 months later, I won my 3rd CrossFit Games title. So, that was a strange. There's no rhyme or reason for it. And from there, I returned back to Australia, and I had some really catastrophic things happen at the gym where I trusted people. I'd been undermined, and I was evicted from my gym, CrossFit Byron Bay. That was my passion and my life and my love, and everything I owned and everything I knew I gave to it. And that started a real downward spiral. And I found myself, I was willing to walk away from the gym and leave everything there. I didn't have many resources left. My resilience had been tested. And so I came from a very high, overcoming so much and being evicted, eventually selling the gym for not very much money. And then I found myself in a very toxic, abusive relationship, domestic violence, and found myself fleeing from that situation with my dogs, my wolfhounds, my 2 beautiful white wolves, they're huge. They're as big as me. And we lived in my van. Basically, I found myself in my van for 5 months, and I was a woman in immense distress, a lot of tools. But when you're in a free fall, trauma and confusion and fear and depression, like depression's been with me, and suicidal depression, anxiety for my whole life, really. And I found myself in suicidal depression in my van, and then COVID had hit at the same time. So I felt like I was living in a war zone, both inside of my own skin and around me. And irrespective of money, I could not find anywhere to live. I couldn't find any support. In that time, I wrote 2 books, one fairy tale and 100,000 word book, which wrote itself while in my van. And in immense despair, I also started my supplement business, the 7 Unicorns Nutrition, which a lot of people love and adore now. And I found that creativity helped metabolize the immense depression and stress and anxiety that I was living with. And, I had my tires slashed. I had a lot of things go on with my ex that put me in quite a very vulnerable and agitated state. And I think really the story of that time was that I came back and I created this brand, and I have this most amazing range of products, which are health products. And the things that I did during that time, so I'd done 10 years of CrossFit. I'd done 6 hours of training a day, 7 days a week. As a 40 to 50-year-old woman, I was training, I was out training and out recovering every human on the planet. I used every tool in the book because I'd been using tools anyway to save myself from suicidal depression all my life. I've been looking for answers forever. And I think that journey of searching for so long and the resources I had was the only thing that saved me. I would have taken my own life many days if it wasn't for my wolfhounds. But what I did with them is I went to nature, because we're all in this fear of an apocalypse and people dropping dead in the street. So I went to nature. I went to the beach. I went to the river. I went with my wolves, and I started training. And that saved me. there were so many things that became the bedrock that held me. When you're in free fall, when you're in trauma, when you're anxiety, when you're in depression, like if you don't have some disciplines to hold you, and you must practice them in the good times, because when the bad times come, it's the only thing that will hold you is that rinse and repeat. So I'm all about hydration and alkalizing and detoxing and moving and praying. And I had never prayed like that before. I mean, I'm a recovered alcoholic, so I'm 17 years sober. So I immersed myself in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. So I did have a program, and I did have a way of coping, and I did have a higher power or something that I prayed to. But during those times, I would hide in my van at night. I would go to nature during the day, because they said you could exercise for an hour every day. And I thought, well, who's going to know whether I'm exercising for 5 hours or 1 hour? And the time of greatest threat for me was hiding in my van at night, because people were targeting anyone who looked like they were taking the whole situation as an opportunity for a holiday. So I would meditate every night, night. And I found myself meditating and praying. And what I ended up praying for more than anything, not for myself, but to be of service to others who were struggling. And it was like I begged God or whatever the thing is, the universe, the stars, to help heal the heart and health of humanity. Like I wanted to be part of the solution for helping to heal the heart and the health of other humans who were suffering. I mean, while I was in my deep, dark suffering, that's what I was calling for, praying for. And all of these things, wasn't any one thing in isolation. It was all of this pattern of things that I did with discipline and desperation and true and real love in my heart. That's what held me and saved me. And what I found myself, I finally, after some media coverage of my situation, a woman reached out to me and gave me a place to live, and then that led to where I live now on the east coast of Australia. And I've literally fallen, I think it's paradise on earth, surrounded by water and rivers, and I go to nature, and nature is what has truly made sense to me. When you're in such immense trauma and despair, and it's hard to trust many things, especially your own mind. And what I found was that I could trust nature. I could trust the sun come up. I trusted the trees. I trusted the water flowing. I trusted my white wolves, Ishka and Lobo, and I went to those places that held me, if that makes sense. And what you see now on my Instagram is my beautiful products and the way they've held me. And sorry, there's a bit of traffic still here.
No worries.
And my workouts, my prayers, my nutrition, my health, that they became they are my priorities, and they became my work and my passion and my gift and the thing that I try to inspire others with. And back in 2016, I did a 1,000-kilometer run for suicide and mental illness to raise awareness. And I took my wolves. They ran with me each day. I ran 5 hours a day for 32 days. And what I found is that I never expected how much. What I wanted to do was do service. But what happened was I was given so much more in return from doing that run than I ever imagined possible. And I think in times of immense distress, anxiety, depression, fear, trauma, whatever it is, doing some form of service is immensely healing. Yeah.
Do you think I think that thought is interesting, that you like emerged from the ashes almost with inspiring and helping others. Do you think that's the reason you're there? And do you think like it needed that extreme low place to finally realize that or find that? Because when you're an athlete, like training for the CrossFit Games, it's pretty much like everything is centered on you, and you do everything to achieve this goal and to make your body stronger and recover. And it's you basically are so self-centered because you have to be to achieve that. And now you're doing the complete opposite, like inspiring others and like giving. Do you think that's why you're here?
Yeah, I've always felt a desperate calling, like an urgent calling to help others who are suffering. And honestly, I think when you look at the trajectory of my own childhood and my own life and my own relationship with my parents, myself, it's not really surprising that I was that one. And I felt always with my with CrossFit, that was a gift from, truly, it felt like a gift from God, because I was a broken woman. I was suicidal, alcoholic, who needed all of the support in the world to get sober. But what was given back to me in return was this immense opportunity, this decade of my life, to be the miracle. You know, that all of the miracles that I prayed for, I was that, and I felt immense calling and responsibility to be of service. And I remember the first CrossFit Games, they interviewed me, and I said to them, I'm not in competition with these women who I'm competing against. I'm in compassion with them, because we all have a journey. Like, there's no full-time athlete of the type that does CrossFit gets there without levels of their own traumas, their own demons, their own dysfunctions. But that's what drives us as well. And I always felt that I was being of service to others as much as myself. And I also recognize so many of us have so much energy. We haven't been initiated by the wise elders of the tribe. We haven't been taught how to be what we are and do what we need to do with our energy, because my energy has always been so immense that if I don't direct it with discipline and expend it every day, I am in terrible trouble, whether that's my behaviors in the world create chaos for myself and others, or the same within my own skin. So, you know, and that's always been the motivating factor behind everything else, saving myself and helping other people, Just in my case, it ended up saving myself and helping others turned into a triple world champion who ran 1,000 kilometers for suicide and mental illness, got cut open and kept turning up. We just need to be reminded about that. Always we have, but now more than ever, how to mentally and physically and emotionally discipline ourselves to navigate times of immense stress, trauma, anxiety, demand, fear. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, I think so. And especially, I think, during these times, you know, because when you have like, how can I say this? When you don't have discipline, and basically because of the virus, a lot of structure and like daily life job things just got blown out of the water. So, and if you don't have the discipline in yourself, you're gonna be lost. Like,
absolutely. And you know, I think what we're finding what happened for me, especially these last few years, was that I describe it like the bones of my soul were crushed. You know, like I felt like everything I knew, everything I believed in, everything I trusted had been stripped away, and I was destroyed to the bones of my soul. But like you said, what happened from that is I rose new, and the things that you think are important, the things that we distract ourselves with on a daily basis, when you're in those times of immense trauma and change, you find that they actually don't have the meaning that you ascribed to them when times were good. And what I have is immense meaning. I've sought meaning and purpose forever. And I've structured disciplines into my life to save myself from myself. And I have prioritized health like nothing else in my life. My health and my dogs, and then being of service in that order, I think. So it's been very, very important to have these disciplines and to have a sense of purpose and a very clear understanding of what my values are and what is important to me. And really, most of that stuff is free. You know, most of the things that truly matter are free.
That's also a question I have on my list. how little do we need in the world? Like,
well, that's right. When I was stuck in my van with my puppies, my wolves, that was it. That's what I had. I had nature. I had the sun. I had the moon. I had the stars. I had a higher power. I had the food that I could fit in the drawers and the fridge, and I had my routines. And it was so, I mean, at the time it was immensely traumatic, but it was so simplifying. And I have very little things even now. I own hardly anything. And it doesn't matter. My gym is free. The sun is free. The earth is free. You know, I go barefoot. I mostly, like, I'm in a bikini all day, every day, just about barefoot. And everything that is natural, that's what held me. Everything in my food is natural. Everything in my world is natural. I've gone away from big cities. I've gone away from busyness. I haven't seen a traffic light in a long time now.
Oh, that's amazing.
You know, I just feel healed by the sun and by what nature has to offer. But I'm also actively trying to participate in that healing and to give back to nature as well by honoring it. Yeah. And sharing it, reminding people, because, you know, it's all free, everything.
Yeah. I just saw that you've been in a supermarket now with your products, aren't you?
No, that's a thing, isn't it? Yeah, I sell all over the world.
Really?
It's alkalized, detox, nourish, and fasting. That's what I do. That's what I offer, and that's what I help people with. And I mean, I've spent 20 years coaching people, personal training, and lifestyle coaching, and studying. And it's come down to this. It's come down to this protocol, my 4 pillars of health protocol. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the question. You must forgive me.
It wasn't a question. It was just like it was just like I saw your products on an Instagram post that's in a supermarket. I found that cool.
I sell online. I sell through my website, and I try to do. I believe it's by attraction, not promotion. But nonetheless, I thought, well, maybe my local supermarket would like to stock my products, and they did. Whoops, sorry. My phone. Yeah. And they have, yeah. So I have a small range, and more and more I've reached out to larger, I don't know, organizations, businesses, you know, to see. I don't know what.
But you still do everything on your own, aren't you? You're like producing it on your own, and
I formulated, I order, I blend, I mix, I put the labels on the bags, I pull the bags, I measure everyone, I seal everyone with my little like cheap $30 sealer. I package everything, I write the love notes, and truly, when I package my products, most of my customers I know, right? I know from social media, I've had relationships with them, or I know them. So I literally, it's like a meditation when I pack these products, because the world is such a disarray, and it's so hard to trust anything anymore. And the integrity of all of the products, the organizations, the brands that we've believed in, this stuff is really very unstable now. And I feel this gap where I've gone back to very authentic, very real, very honored. I am honoring every individual who's ordered. I imagine them, I think about them. It's almost like a shamanic kind of journeying. I really meditate on them, and then I finish packaging and I write them a little note, and I always give some little extra thing to everybody. I don't know what it is. There's different things at different times, and I write them a love note. It's very personal. It's on black paper with metallic textures, and you know, I just want to pour all the good vibrations, all the high energy. I play magical high energy music when I'm packing. Like I believe in all of that. I believe, as much as it doesn't seem like much, I believe it truly is. Everything is about energy and vibration. So I try to offer everything I have, and it really helps me with my own anxiety and depression, because I feel I'm truly being of service in addition to what they've purchased from me. Straight up exchange. You pay that, I give you that. There's something else that I want to offer it. And I actually, I've got this thing here. I'll see if I can pull it out. I send everybody. I've just got it here. It's funny that I've even got it. It's like it's a declaration of sovereignty, and I get people to take their own heart rate, and I give them some breathing work. I give them my Spotify playlist. I give them like a 9 divine minutes every morning. So that's all of these value adds, because it's not just food. It's not just hydration. It's the way we integrate absolutely everything for the most extraordinary health, well-being outcome. So that's the position that I want to hold. I want to help integrate all of the aspects of health and well-being, performance, energy, leanness. Like, my body's never been as extraordinary. I mean, I love my body now, and it's very lean. It's muscular. It's lean. It's quite small, I'm told, because I was always like this jacked, fucking badass beast. I was like a bulldozer in CrossFit, and I've become this. It's a much more feminine, much more natural. Some people say I'm like a hippie, but I just love going to nature with my wolves and working out and breathing and sharing all of that. So it's been quite a transformation.
I wouldn't say
No,
hippie.
I don't think so, but people say it.
I have the feeling it's really like real and authentic. Like, just
thank you.
Just that.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I think,
and it feels like that.
Yeah. And the product, I think that's really cool that you like build a connection with your customers, like even beyond the transaction and things, like, and it's really interesting that you pray for the products, because there are these studies when monks like pray over water, how the water structures change.
Yes.
So
yes.
So it really does something.
I did the most amazing podcast with a lady called Veda Austin, and she does studies water, and she's proven it's extraordinary.
Really? Okay.
The way water is intelligent, and it reflects back to us or sends messages in the crystalline structure of the water. And I have one of those tuning forks, ding, and it's 528 hertz, so I ding over everything before I send them out as well. So I'm all total immersion girl.
Absolutely. Like we are basically water. Like we're like
electricity and water. Minerals,
I don't know how many percent of our bodies are water. Like, must be like more than 90%, I think.
Like 97% or something. Yeah, the cells of our body. We're electromagnetic bodies of water. And I remember that all the time, because with anxiety and depression, it's very easy to fall into like an old pit of despair type thinking, and I catch myself because my cells every cell in my body is listening. So often what I do when I'm wherever I am, I'm invoking, I'm praying. I've got all sorts of prayers and affirmations and verses that I just say because they're high vibration and they draw me back out. And I just figure, well, if my cells are listening, let me give them something positive and healing to listen to, so they can do their work for me.
Awesome. When you say you were a bulldozer in CrossFit world, what did make you so good in that sport?
I've thought about this a lot for a long, long time. I'm obsessive. I'm definitely, I've got that addictive, obsessive personality. But also I have this immense, I had this immense need to know what I was made of, to prove myself to myself. And I also I have a very strong connection to the concept of integrity. And so for me, every workout, every lift, every workout was like proving my integrity, proving my willingness to work, like to hold myself to the highest standard, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And I think, you know, all of that combined made me, I had such a work ethic. I had such an ability to swallow pain like nobody else. And I used to imagine that I was willing to step into the fire of the work, the effort, the pain, more than any other woman or competitor. And I would hold myself closer to the fire than any other. And every time I would do that, training, competition. And that was what I did. I just was willing to do more, to suffer more, to work more, to recover more, to hold myself to a higher standard. But in every moment I was doing all of that in every moment, if that makes sense.
Do you follow any of the CrossFit world now, or is it behind you now?
Not very much. And even when I did it, I didn't really follow it because I was doing it. You know, you get so, like, I just was swallowed into, and I think there's an element of dissociation that happens when we deal with trauma. And so for me, dissociation, I was able to use that in CrossFit. Highly sensitive and dissociative and driven and willing to swallow pain. So that all seemed to go very, very well. And I can endure. I will endure. And I did. I endured more pain, more work, more years than any other.
Yeah, makes sense. I have a I don't know if it's off topic, but I have a question I ask nearly every guest on the podcast because I'm a photographer, and I did this series in my studies about the search for extraterrestrial life. And I ask every guest on the show, do you think mankind should be an interplanetary species? And if so, do you think we're gonna make it?
Are we, or should we be an interplanetary species? No, I think humans are here. We are here to honor and as custodians of this beautiful planet and all that Mother Nature has to offer. And I think it's an absolute privilege. And I think it's probably a privilege in this galaxy, solar system, whatever it is. I think we have such an I often when I'm in nature, I think, if I'd never been to this planet before and suddenly this scene was upon me, what would I think? You know, the first time I'd ever said, it was just like, oh, you know, this is the most profound beauty, magnificence, harmony ever, anywhere in the galaxy. So I can't imagine why we would want to be anywhere other than here. And we're all entitled to explore and adventure and delve into the realms of possibility that inspire and create curiosity for us. So for me, I just want to delve deeper into nature, because I think, because you look at a single cell is almost represented by the magnitude of the entire galaxy, is in one cell. So it's not so much whether we should go there or stay here. I think it's simply a matter of perception. Like, what's your viewpoint? Because they say that you could have a single cell, like a single cell from my body could recreate the entire planet, like the genetic information, everything, all the material needed to create this entire a planet that we know. Like, all of that information is in there. So it's that's my weird answer.
That's a really great turn on it. It's like, and what you last said, that's also interesting. Like one astronomer once told me that, Tim, you can only understand the big structures in the universe if you understand the small structures in the universe. So,
absolutely. And I honestly,
exactly,
I think for most of us, and I used to always say that the final frontier is within. We're all out. I'm gonna find myself. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna do this course, do that course. But fuck, bringing it within and actually setting off you know, into an inner journey. Now there's a universe to discover.
Yeah. And that's also funny because in the beginning I said that your Instagram and you being in nature almost seems to me like it's totally surreal and another universe. So that's basically showing me that I'm a little bit too like deconnected with nature, I think. Like I have to get out more.
Yeah, I think for the majority of civilization, we have nature deficit disorder. You know, a lot of our issues stem from a disconnection to the nature within and the nature around us, Mother Nature. Yeah. And actually, when you look at nature, like there's no, you know, those hard lines and 90-degree angles and hard lines. Nature doesn't carry that format. We do in our civilizations, and it's very counter to the way energy flows, and it's quite I find it quite disturbing now to whoops, sorry
No worries. Awesome. Amanda, we're almost at the end. Like I have so many thoughts in my head. I can like talk for hours, but maybe I'm gonna have you back on. I don't know.
That would be my pleasure. Anytime.
In the end, I have some quick questions. Like they're only like fast answers. Do you have a nickname? Do you have a nickname?
I don't. My grandma called me Mandy, and that's it. No, actually, at the gym they used to call me Guru.
Guru, okay.
But no, not really. No, I am without one.
All right. What's your favorite music in 2021?
I listen to a lot of high frequency music. So Angel Hertz, 928, 528. It's like the angel frequencies. I listen to a lot of high frequency, calming, meditative music all the time.
All right. Do you have some of that on your Spotify list?
I do have AA's 9 Divine Minutes. I'm happy to share it with you, but it's it's the way I set my morning and my intentions, my prayers, and with that vibration going. Yeah.
I would love that.
Very soothing and so important when we're in such immense anxiety and fear.
Do you have a favorite book?
Ooh, I have a few. Actually, I just ordered A Course in Miracles. It's one of the most beautiful books, and A Return to Love. They're both Marianne Williamson. But there is a book. There is a book I read years ago just as a good read. It's Shantaram, a crazy, crazy, crazy man's journey. I don't know how much of it is true, but it was quite an epic. Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite movement?
Oh, any kind of functional movement. Honestly, anything that is in nature and that is fluid. Breathing, plunging, moving my body naturally I love using rocks and trees and wood, and I'll often stand ankle knee deep in the water with my bands at the beach or on the river and do my workout. So that's a funny answer, but I love to incorporate my movement immersed in nature, natural movement with natural implements.
Do you have a favorite coach?
No, I've always been my own. I've always yearned for a mentor. But me personally, we are our own best. We really, truly are. All
right, and my last question
was Lobo. Actually, do you know my puppy Lobo? He's my best. He's such a good example of how to live. Like, I try to take lessons, if that's what a coach does. They teach you. He teaches me how to relax. He teaches me to be a bit of a bliss-seeking missile. He teaches me how to just love what you love.
And are your two dogs, like, are they different in their teachings?
Personalities are just so different. One is just, he's like a polar bear, is a bliss-seeking, snack-seeking missile, and he absorbs all of my energy. Anything that's heavy, he attaches himself to me. And then my other Ishka, he's older, he's got dreadlocks. He's got, like dreadlocks, this long white wolf with dreadlocks, and he's my protector. And he's very aloof, and he's so devoted and loyal to me. So they're very, very different brothers.
Cool. And my last question is, what's the accomplishment, or I don't know if it's accomplishment or just thing you're most proud of so far?
One of my hashtags for many, many years has been find a way and keep turning up. And honestly, that's what I've done, and in my times of immense, and I think this is a practice, a discipline, in my times of greatest distress and depression, I've found a way to still do health, to still do hydration, to still care for myself instead of not caring anymore. Something in me, some light, it never went out, and I thought it did. I truly did. So the fact that I've kept turning up, and that I've held my heart open, and I've wanted always to give back no matter what's happened. And actually forgiveness is probably the thing. I forgive myself, I forgive others. We're all doing the very, very best that we can. Many people have not grown up with what they should have, and we're all dealing with our stuff. So all of those things. Quite proud of myself, really, in the scheme of things.
That's cool. Forgiveness is for me, forgiveness is another word for letting go. And I learned that a few years ago. I walked the Camino de Santiago. I don't know if you know it. It's a pilgrimage.
Oh,
it's a pilgrimage in Europe. And there I actually met an older guy from Australia, which I walked the entire way with him. He was like 50 something.
Oh my God.
And he once said to me, like in a totally random moment, he said to me, "Tim, life's about letting go." And I thought about that like for hours and almost the entire day. Like if you think about it, it's about letting go. Like if that means feelings, grudges, things, relationships, everything. Like forgiving is a form of letting go. Like, yeah.
I agree. Yeah, there's immense discomfort in attaching and holding on. Like when it's time to go, it'll go, and what's meant to be will come. And if we otherwise we block ourselves. If you cling and hold and possess, there's a blockage, and there's immense distress. It's true. Acceptance is the answer to all of our problems.
That's a pretty good damn way to end the podcast, I think.
A little profound quote.
Thank you very much, Amanda.
Oh, it's been my honor. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to watching some more of your podcasts. You've interviewed some fascinating people, and I thank you for your service, because it is a service that you do.
Thank you. Stop the